Capcom presents Marvel vs. Capcom!
Hey everyone, I'm Webhead, and I'm back again with a special, supersized episode of 5-Minute Fundamentals. This week, we're going to be looking into the many ways to keep your character moving around in Marvel vs. Capcom. We've got a lot to cover, so let's jump right into it.
Come on!
For this lesson, we'll be starting with a concept called neutral. In a fighting game, neutral is the state of gameplay in between attacking and defending. While neutral, your character will always automatically try to face your opponent, and the directional input is always horizontally relative to this. Forward is towards your opponent, backwards is away from your opponent. If you can't see your enemy on screen, make sure to pay close attention to the marker that will appear. During a duo team attack, this marker is very important. Whichever character has the marker is the one that the directional input applies to. In the neutral, we have 5 basic states: standing, walking, crouching, dashing, and jumping. These states can be linked together by using the joystick. Let's take a look at standing first. Standing is keeping the joystick in its default position, and ultimately, you never want to stay standing for too long. If you want to stay put, you should always be ready to hold back at a moment's notice to block any incoming attack. Standing can be useful to get a read on your opponent, even baiting them into attacking you, which you'll be ready to block and set up for a counterattack. While standing, you can block incoming air attacks and standing attacks, but a low attack will sneak under your guard, so watch out. From standing, you can immediately go into a crouching position by holding down. Crouching is an excellent way to stay safe for short periods, because if you hold down and back, you can plant yourself and block without walking backwards. Some characters even crouch low enough to avoid attacks altogether. Crouching is never a good idea when your opponent is in the air, because any attack coming from above will hit you. Also, there are standing attacks that hit at a very high angle. They're called overheads, and they will hit you while crouching. During a flurry of attacks, you'll need to pay attention and alternate standing and crouching blocks correctly if you want to come out on top. If the pressure is on, while your character is in a blocking animation, if you push all 3 punch buttons at the same time, you'll push your opponent away far enough to get a chance to escape. A basic jump is done by pressing straight up. You can back jump or forward jump by combining up with a direction, turning into a diagonal movement. There's also another jump called a super jump, which you can do by hitting all 3 kick buttons at the same time, or by tapping down right before you press up. Both a normal or a super jump can be initiated from a standing or a crouching position. When you super jump, you fly up and take the screen with you. While on your way up or down, you can glide left or right, so pay attention to where your opponent is underneath you. They can super jump as well and follow you, or wait on the ground for a positional advantage. Don't forget that you can hold back while in the air to protect yourself from a stray hit. If you're on the attack, hit your opponent with a launching move while holding up to immediately follow them and continue the beatdown in midair. Forwards or backwards movement dictates the overall speed of the match. Walking forwards is a good way to safely approach your enemy, and walking backwards is absolutely key for defense. While walking back, you automatically stop and block if your opponent attacks, even if it whiffs. Faster than walking, you can also dash forwards or backwards. To dash forward, instead of holding forward to walk, quickly tap forward twice. The same applies to back. One very important thing to consider is that you can't block while dashing, so only do it when you think you're in the clear. A backdash has a tiny bit of invincibility in the first few milliseconds, so if you need to get some distance, it's a great tool. A dash can also be combined with a jump if the first tap is forwards and the second is up forward. This can be used to surprise your opponent with a quick advance. Just like pressing 3 kicks for a super jump, if you're planted on the ground, you can also hit all 3 punch buttons to achieve a forward dash. Ready to see something cool? You can chain a dash with a crouch if you quickly tap down right as your character starts the dash. This is a dash cancel and can either be used as a fake out or a quick way to make a dash safe from harm. Chain multiple dash cancels together and you get what's called a wave dash. This is the fastest way to travel across the stage and catch your opponent off guard or follow up with a combo. There's one more technique that's important for controlling the neutral game, and that's a safe roll. If you ever get knocked down to the ground really hard, your character is normally forced to rise straight up. However, if before you hit the ground you make a back to down motion and press punch, instead of splatting against the ground, you'll roll a fair distance away. This isn't entirely safe as your opponent can catch you when you recover from the roll, but it does stop them from picking you up off the ground for some free damage. If you're constantly getting knocked down and hit with a hyper combo, give this a shot. Something to add a bit more variety to the game, there are also character-specific tricks that you should keep in mind. War Machine, for example, can fly. Captain America has a double jump, which lets him avoid damage or extend combos. Wolverine can hop off the side of the screen. Spidey and Venom can sling webs overhead. Take a little while with your favorite character and see what tricks they may be capable of. That about covers the basics of mobility options. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode where we cover offense, building combos, and burning meter.